For this week's Academic Achiever of the Week, we meet a senior at Frontier High School who is interested in math and wants to get into computer science in college. Our Peyton Brooker introduces us to him.
The WTAP High School Academic Achiever of the Week, sponsored by Marietta College.
Wyatt Kerns is a senior at Frontier High School who's typically a straight-A student. Kerns says he manages to keep those grades by carefully examining the work he has in front of him.
I usually try and review through the material, try and see what I remember without looking at through my notes and stuff, and then review on what I don't know.
One of his favorite subjects in school has been math.
Mathematics, I've always had interest in mathematics. I've always been good at it. I've even taken mini CCP classes in mathematics.
Outside of the classroom, Wyatt is involved in different extracurricular activities and volunteering opportunities.
One of them is band. Another like extracurricular activity I take part in is Scouts, which I recently got my Eagle Scout for that. So I volunteer mostly at the Newport Community Food Pantry. I definitely enjoy that.
Wyatt is also interested in science, where he hopes to go to college for. At the moment, Wyatt is leaning towards the Ohio State University.
They have a good computer science program, and it's close enough to home to where, but not too far away.
After high school, Wyatt hopes to improve on his time management.
Yeah, I would like to improve in time management as well, because sometimes I spend my time wisely. I sometimes like to work on other things, but I should be working on something else, and sometimes I just get distracted on the one thing I'm working on.
This is Peyton Brooker in New Matamoros, WTAP News. This is home.